To level 1, most of the topics we have covered, right? All the main topics, but few more topics are there, and I'm going to cover and finish it up in some time, and then we'll practice the questions, and I'll tell you how the question comes, and then we'll have 1 or 2 mock exam. Okay. So here we go. Next topic I'm going to cover is the architecture repository. Now, if you remember, yesterday we covered enterprise continuum, content framework. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, architecture repository. This also comes under enterprise continuum and tools. Getting
Okay.
it? Now, if you look at this one, it is a generic repository. Yeah. Now, Open Group doesn't say that you have to use this one. They don't say that. However, it is a format given to you. If you want, you can use it, or even you can use as an extension. Getting it? Yeah. So what Open Group says is, it is good to have a separate architecture repository for architecture, because it can be complicated many times. If you go with a generic organization repository, sometimes it can be a challenge. Yeah, so it is always good to have a separate repository for architecture. Okay, so here we go. So if you look at this one, few things. Okay, let's have a look at that one by one. First one, yeah, it's called architecture meta model. Right? What does it say about that? It says architecture meta model. What does it say about that?
What is meta model basically?
Okay, meta model, I'll tell you later. Now, okay, do you know what's a metadata?
Yeah, metadata I know very well. Yeah.
Metadata is data of a data, correct?
Yes. Supporting
Yes.
data.
Correct. Now, similarly, meta model is model of a model.
Model of a model. Okay.
Okay. Now, we use meta model in architecture to simplify the architecture process.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be covering that in level 2. Okay. Now, as of now, let's get into this. Now, first one says architecture meta model. What does it contain? Basically, it says architecture meta model describes the architecture framework in use.
Describes the architecture framework in use. Okay.
Yeah. So what does it describe? Basically, architecture meta model will basically describe maybe the architecture framework I'm going to use, TOGAF framework, right? Or any governance framework or any other framework I'm going to use for the architecture work.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. So this will basically contain detailing of the framework relating to it. Yeah.
So I still, can you give me a little more real time example?
Okay. Now, architecture meta model. I need to make you understand. And then what is a meta model? Let's look into that. Now, here we go. Now, okay, let me give an example here. Imagine, are you married, by the way?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Do you have a child?
I do.
Okay. Now, imagine if you have a small child, the child comes and tells you, can you tell me how the earth looked like? What will you do?
I'll just give her a kind of example, probably which you can correlate to.
Okay.
And
like maybe
like apple is round, and similarly like orange, the earth also is something similar, round but very big.
Thank you. Now, similarly, use an apple, orange, or even you can give a football maybe, right? And explain to the child, this is how, or maybe a globe.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you show your child a globe or a map and tell the child, this is how the earth look like, and the detail you'll explain to the child, the North Pole, the South Pole, the sea, the continents, all the detailing, correct?
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, if it is a small child, it is very difficult to comprehend that we have a huge earth round in shape, right? But if you show a globe, it will simplify for the child to understand how the earth look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, maybe you will tell your child, if he or she can understand, you will tell the child that 1 millimeter in actual is equal to so many thousand kilometers, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So if you look at the globe, it will simplify the work for the child, right? Now, similarly, content meta model. Why we use a meta model is basically because it will simplify the architecture we are doing. Again, now, this is the definition of a meta model as per the meta model website. Now, please remember, meta model website is changed now. It is not .com. I believe it is .in, right? Look into that, right? Or not .in, sorry, .org.
Okay.
Okay, you can check into that. So this is the definition given by the meta model group. Yeah. So as per meta model, the website, it says meta model is a precise definition of the constructs and rules needed for creating model, correct?
Yeah.
Now, what TOGAF has done is it has customized the definition, right? So if you look here, what TOGAF says is meta model as per TOGAF is a model that describes how and with what architecture will be described in a structured way. Getting it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So please remember, I may use a meta model basically to describe the architecture in a structured way, including the framework and the detailing, things like that. Got it?
Can you take one meta model if you have it and correlate?
Okay. Meta model, if you, okay, now, meta model, the example is what I gave you some time back. Now, if you look at meta model in IT,
related to the IT delivery, I'm saying.
Here we go. Now, meta model here, have a look at this one, is categorized into two: core and extension. Yeah. What meta model, what happens is in TOGAF, extension is something where you can make the changes, and core, once you decide in a project, you cannot alter the core.
Got it.
Getting in. So core content is designed not to be altered, but you can make the changes in the extension. Now, please remember that even when I speak about the core, once I decide everything about the project, I decide on it. Yeah. So everything normally will be covered even when we finalize the project. However, depending on the requirements of the client, some clients come out with specific detailed requirement. So keeping that in mind, you have something called extension to make the changes according to the requirement of the client. Got it? Now, let's look at some examples of the core. Have a look at this one. What is a core meta model entity as per IT here? It is all this application component, business capability, actor, the data entity, functions, service, organization unit, role, person, all these are core meta model entities. Getting it? For example, if I decide on a project, I may choose a project manager, right? So project manager is a role, project manager role. Once I decide on that, I cannot change it.
Yes, I can correlate. Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. Now, core meta model entity until I finish with the project. Yeah. However, exceptions are there. For example, if the project manager leaves the job, I have no other option but to make the changes. Yeah. But as per the principles of TOGAF, once you decide on all these core entities, you cannot change it. Yeah, but changes can be done only to the extensions. Yeah. So which are the extensions here? Have a look at the extension. Yeah. TOGAF has given us 6 extensions to make changes: your governance extension, services, process modeling, data, infrastructure, and motivation.
Will there be question on this core meta model
Well,
and all?
meta model, you may not have a question, maybe one question on content frame, 1 or 2 questions they ask in meta model. Yeah. So level 1, sometime they may ask you question relating to it. Yeah. But I haven't seen normally. Yeah. Mostly they ask questions on content meta model and artifact, deliverables, all that.
Okay.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
is fine.
So this is about a meta model.
Let me go
Now,
back to it. Sorry, 1 second. What are the 6?
yeah, I will be covering this in level 2. I'll be covering this. Okay.
Okay.
Let's finish with level 1. Level 1, we cover only the basics. So level 2, I will be coming back to this one again. Okay.
Okay.
Now, a few more things I want to show you here. Content meta model provides definition for all the types of building blocks in an architecture project. Yeah, how they can be described, how they can relate to one another, and things like that. Getting it? Yeah. So if you look at the diagram, it is the content meta model diagram. Yeah, all the phases you can see, preliminary phase, phase A, phase B, all these are content meta model. Getting it?
No,
Yeah.
I can see the documents and all, but how was
Yeah.
it actually? It's little kind of
Here we go.
probably
Now,
have
a look at this one. This is a core content meta model. Now, have a look at this one. If you deliver a capability to a client, you may use principles in TOGAF: constraint, assumption, requirement, location, work package. All this together delivers capability, correct? Yeah. Also, if you look at this one, this is called general entity. This is connected with the organization unit, the data entity, the application, the technology, the process. It is connected with all of it. Yeah. So this is a basic representation of the core content meta model, which basically can work together to deliver the capability or the solution for the client.
Correct.
Getting it? Yeah. So what exactly is a core content meta model basically is, yeah, core content provide definitions or detailing of all the building block that makes it, and they will tell you how they relate to each other. That will help you to help you with the architecture development. Getting it? So that is why core content meta model is used, because it will simplify your work. Right? It will make it easy. For example, if you look at this one, this looks quite simple for you to execute.
For the moment, we'll keep.
Sorry, somebody opened. Yeah.
Yeah. So this makes it quite simple to understand how an architecture can be done. Right?
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So likewise, getting it? Yeah. So also have a look at this one. This is the different content meta model. Okay, tell me what exactly all this is. This is artifacts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every phase has so many artifacts we use. Preliminary phase, phase A, phase B, phase C, phase D, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Requirements here, opportunity, solution, all these phases, we have so many artifacts. Yeah. So this shows all the different artifacts. Now, one more thing here. What is it that they show in this color? For example, the orange color, it is a motivation extension.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever you see in dark blue is a process modeling extension.
Okay.
Fine with you? Yeah. So one more thing I want to tell you, in TOGAF 10, they ask you 2 or 3 questions based on the diagram. Yeah. They will give you this diagram and ask you what is all this, all these artifacts, correct?
Oh, I need to recognize which one is artifact.
Yes. They will ask you this diagram most of the time. What exactly this is, you have to say meta model, content meta model. Okay. Yeah, getting it. So some diagrams they may ask you, I'll tell you which are the ones they ask you. Okay. Okay. Now I'll go back to this one. Yeah. So please understand content meta model. You saw the entities, all that what we use basically. Content meta model simplifies the architecture work. That's why you use a content meta. Now, coming back to the repository, this one, it is called architecture meta model. right? What does the architecture meta model do? It describes the framework in use with the enterprise and so many other detailing. Got it? Yeah. Now, second one is called reference library. Yeah. What is a reference library basically contains? Any idea what is a reference library?
The reference library is where you have a kind of a template or the already kind of
Correct.
use project documents which can be referred.
Correct. Yeah. So reference library normally contains, yeah, maybe best practice material, template material, and things like that. That can be used basically for the architecture work. Yeah. So reference library contains reusable architecture work products. Okay, let me show you this. Yeah. Can you go through this one, please? Any doubt you can ask me. Yeah.
Particularly print from various sources include standard bodies, products, different knowing best practices result from project implementation. Okay.
And with you now, third one is called architecture landscape. If you remember, yesterday we covered on this one, architecture landscape. It is segregated into three categories: strategic, segment, and capability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday, you remember I covered something called enterprise, strategic, segment, and capability. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the one architect is called architecture landscape. Yeah. Which is categorized in strategic, segment, and capability. Now, what exactly is a strategic architecture? Any idea what the strategic architecture could be? Strategic level, if you remember, any strategic decisions we make, people on a top level, it will show a long-term summary view of the entire enterprise. It is all strategic. Yet again, segment level will be basically, if you look at that, it will provide a detailed operating model for areas within the enterprise. For example, program, portfolio, project, etc. Yeah. Capability is more where the work happens. Yeah. It will show more detail about how the enterprise is basically developed to support the requirement of the client. Yeah. Or the target capability requirement of the client. So have a look at this one, please.
Segment for the architecture. One more detail.
Fine with you. Now, what does the architecture landscape contains? It basically shows you state of the operating enterprise at particular points in time. Yeah. For example, the program, when does it come into picture? The project, when they come into picture, right? So when do they work on it? In an architecture. Yeah. So that is the architecture landscape. Now, third, fourth one is called standard information base. Now, I want to tell you this one. This particular topic, you will surely get 2 questions in level 1.
Which one?
Standard, yeah, 2 questions, this particular topic, what I'm covering right now, the repository. Yeah. Architecture repository, this particular one, you'll surely get 2 questions. Okay. Enterprise continuum, you get 2 questions, sometimes 3.
Oh.
Yeah. Content framework, mostly you get 1 question, sometimes 2.
Okay. Is there anything actually check sheet actually which I can refer in what area, how many questions may come?
That I'll tell you anyway. I'm telling you that now. Also, I'll be giving you the question practice.
Okay.
All the questions they normally ask you, I'll be telling you that.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, standard information, what does it contain? Basically, SIB is also called SIP, SIB. Yeah. What does it tell you? It defines the compliance criteria for work. Got it?
Defines the compliance criteria for work ground architecture.
Yeah. So what does it contain normally? Let me tell you this one. Standard information base may contain specification, right? Or standard. You must conform to compliance. Getting it, for example, legal requirement, regulatory requirement, industry standard, things like that. Got it? Okay. So have a look at this one, please.
Yeah, standard repository area to hold set of specifications to which the architecture must conform and establish a standard for standard information based standard upon basis for architecture convention. Standards are okay, standards are legal industrial. Okay.
Fine with you?
Yeah.
Now, let's go to the next one is called, let's go to the next one. Here we go. Yeah. Make sure that you go through it when you go back home, because we cannot remember everything. For example, whatever I cover in the class, when you go back home, you will remember maybe 10 or 20% only. Yeah. So make sure that you go through the same content again and refer the PDF if required, because PDF may contain all these things in detail. Okay. Yeah. Any doubt you have, please refer the PDF.
Yeah.
It will be given there. Okay. Now, please remember, I've shared you the open group PDF of 9.2 as well as 10.
Yeah.
Fine with you? Yeah. Now, next one, governance log. Yeah. Now tell me, what do you understand by log? What's a log?
Log you're saying, correct?
Not a log, log, L-O-G.
Oh, there it is, governance log. Basically, it's a key agreed collective decisions, and whatever the journey which has gone through, it is recorded, and recorded kind of decisions which has been taken, all those things which is presented and discussed in the architectural forum probably is considered as a logs.
Thank you.
Whatever the reports generally kind of.
Now, if you know a project log mostly maintained by the project manager may contain all the day-to-day activities of a project, correct?
Correct.
Similarly, we have a governance log that contain all the activity details you carry out in governance. For example, compliance. Yeah, compliance assessment, decisions you make, performance measurement, all that you do.
Yeah.
Getting it? So that is a governance log. Capture results of the governance activity. Fine with you? It could be the calendar of the governance activity, when I'm going to do it, the decisions I make in governance, or the assessment I carry out, all that would be. Yeah, so have a look at the governance log, please.
Yeah, understood.
And with you now, let's go to the next one. Next one, it says, okay, architecture capability. Right? What is architecture capability about? It is about organization capability, the role, the skill set, all that will come under that, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So anything relating to it will be part of the architecture capability. Now tell me, what is the solution building block?
Solution building blocks are a kind of it's like the basic building blocks using which you can extend it to build a solution.
Okay. Now, if you remember the ADM, I told you two things. Remember that: architecture building blocks and solution building block.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is architecture building? All the work we carry, the drafting we do, the blueprint, all that we cover in ABCD is called architecture building block.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Solution building blocks are the planning we do, the detailing, and the solution we implement for the architecture is called solution building block.
Okay.
Yeah. So any solutions you implement in an architecture, there will be so many that will be here. Got it?
Agree.
Yeah. So this is a basic repository if you look at that. Getting it?
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure that you go through it once again when you go back home. It's simple. Yeah. You know what it is and everything is given here also. Yeah. Even in the PDF, it is given in detail. Yeah. So you can go through it. Fine with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, can you go through the summary once, please?
The TOGAF Standard provides a structural framework for repository with logical information stores. Okay. Architecture landscape, reference library. Yeah.
Fine with you. Now, let's go to the next topic now. Now, please remember, I'm covering exactly the topic what they asked you in level 1. Yeah. And next one, content framework we already covered. Next one already, this one we covered already. Meta model will be covering again, maybe on the level 2 tomorrow. Yeah. And next one, let me go to next one. And next topic. So here we go. Actually, this is a level 2 topic. However, not many time, every time they ask you question based on this. Yeah, in level 1. So I'm going to cover it because many times it has happened. I didn't cover this one. And the students say, oh, the question came from level 1. Yeah, in the mock exam. Yeah, so that's why. Final exam, of course, we'll be covering everything. Yeah, now, what is architecture governance in simple term? It is called a practice. Like, for example, chartered accountant is a practice, right? Yeah. Similarly, governance is a practice. Yeah. And what exactly the governance team do? If you remember, I told you have to establish a architecture board in the preliminary phase, correct?
Yeah.
That is governance. Now, please remember, the names will be different in different organizations. Some may call it governance team, some may call it architecture board, whatever may be, but the function remains the same.
That's correct.
Yeah. Now, governance is a practice by which architectures are managed, controlled, and even they make some decisions for you. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Now, when I say control, what control do they do?
They kind of check the deviations and
Correct.
diversions and give them that
Correct.
this can be corrected. Yeah.
They will keep on monitoring you and check what you're creating. Right? They make sure that you implement the right thing, you use the right standard, comply with the requirement, things like that. Yeah, for example, comply with internal and external standards, yeah, or regulations. Getting it? All that they look at. Yeah. So introduction to governance, this is what I was talking about. You can just go through it if you want to. Fine with you. Next, governance plays a very important role in the ADM, right? You establish the governance in the preliminary phase, and not only preliminary, every phase, it plays a very important role, especially in phase G and phase H.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I told you before, governance, make sure that whatever you do is done in the right way, business is conducted properly, and things like that. Okay, now, this also I told you, if you remember, there are different levels of governance: your corporate governance, your technology governance, your IT governance, and architecture governance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all these are governance, but different things. Yeah. Corporate governance is specifically focused on the corporate requirement. Yeah. Technology governance is focused only on the technology. Architecture governance is focused on architecture work. Got it? Yeah. So in TOGAF, we are focused on architecture. Next one.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Imagine if you don't have a governance in your organization, if you want to establish governance, yeah, any framework you know about governance?
Not really.
Okay. There is a framework called COBIT. Have you heard of COBIT?
I've heard of it.
Okay. So COBIT can be used. COBIT is a governance framework. I can use it to establish governance or basically to, work on the governance. Getting it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
COBIT stands for, what does COBIT stand for? Yeah. No. COBIT stands for Control Objectives for Information and Related Technology.
Okay.
Yeah. And have you heard of ISACA?
I've heard, but I haven't really don't know much anything about it.
Okay. So COBIT is owned by ISACA and it is a certification as well. Yeah. I want to tell you one more thing. Wherever you're working, please think about few topics which is very, very good going forward. For example, governance is a very good field. You can grow a lot. If you should take a COBIT or any other certification, you will be much in demand, especially in UK.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you think about those terms, you will become an auditor like a personality or a senior person, basically into focusing on governance. Yeah, so governance is a very good field with little complication. The complexities are less. It is easy to work and very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Similarly, change management is another one, but I like governance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for example, in Google, you know what is the pay of a governance manager?
No.
Or governance board head? Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. I understand.
Getting it? Yeah.
You
So
need to have right banner checks in place.
correct. Yeah. So make sure if you do a certification, you will be preferred if you have a certification in place.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So COBIT is a good certification you can do if you want to. Okay. Now, governance we discussed on conceptual structure, right? So if you look at governance conceptually, architecture governance, you can call it an approach, right? It is a series of process. It is a cultural orientation and responsibilities. Getting it? To make or ensure that integrity and effectiveness of the architecture, whatever you're working on. Yeah. So all these things about is part of governance processes, SLAs, monitoring, all this about. Okay. Do you know what's an OLA?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Next one. Have a look at this.
A series of processes. Once it allows location of new governance,
Okay. Now, can I do an architecture without governance? Can I do that?
You can, but it may not be
fruitful.
It cannot cover all the grounds. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So I can do anything without governance. But the thing is, if you don't have someone to monitor, every person, how much ever good you are, you will all start working at your own terms, your own condition, your own, pace. Getting it? Yeah. So nobody will be accountable to anybody.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous situation. For example, imagine 10 managers working in a team. They will have their own egos. They will say, no, what I say is correct, what he says is correct. Nobody will follow certain, what to call a middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it will be a challenge. So that's why governance is very, very important if you have governance. Yeah. So benefits of architecture governance, all these are the benefits, aligns with industry frameworks, integrates and institutionalizes best practices, support regulatory requirement, best practice, all that.
Yeah.
Second one, who can be part of the architecture board? I believe I discussed with you now. what are the responsibilities of the architecture board? Right? It's a huge responsibility. If you look at that, yeah, architecture board responsibilities. Yeah, it is a huge responsibility. They are accountable for anything goes wrong. They are accountable. Any compliance issues, they become accountable. So it is a huge responsibility. Fine with you? Yeah. Now, next one, what do you mean by compliance? Now, contracts we discussed already. Now, two contracts are mandatory. Which are the two? One is in phase A, architect statement of work, and the second one is in phase D is called architecture contract. Now, other than this one, if you want to create a contract in the domains, you can do that. Yeah. And so that is also optional. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, next question. What do you understand by compliance?
Compliance is a mandatory things which you has to adhere to as per the regulatory or rules of the government or law of the land.
Okay. So if you look at compliance, compliance basically means complying with the requirements. Yeah, it could be a standard, it could be a requirement. You have to comply with that. For example, the client tells you, you have to follow, maybe a quality standard. You have no option but to do that.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So let's have a look at this one. Few terms here. You may get one of it. Your 30% chance of getting one of the definitions. Yeah. And so let's have a look at this one. You need to understand it. Now, please remember that definitions in TOGAF, it will be slightly different from normally what you know in the dictionary meaning, right? It will be slightly different. Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's have a look at the first one. Is called irrelevant. Yeah. Yeah. So will you mind reading this one? Then I can explain.
Irrelevant. The implementation has no features in common with the architectural specification. So the question of conference does not exist, or conference doesn't exist. Means basically, okay, they're totally different. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you look at the diagram here, the first one is the specification given by the client. The brown one is whatever you implement.
Correct.
Yeah. Now what it says is specification has nothing in common with the implementation. Yeah. So that's why it is completely irrelevant. This is what the client gave you. This is what you implemented. It is completely irrelevant. Got it?
And still, could you, how does this complaints comes into play here? I'm trying to understand.
Okay. Now, few terminologies used in compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the few irrelevant. Now, if you do an architecture project, somebody does an architect, for example, you have so many people working under you, whatever they implemented, it has nothing to do with the specification given to you by the client. What will you call them? You will say it is completely irrelevant. It has no benefit.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So that's why. Second one, consistent. Can you read that? I'll explain to you.
Yeah, consistent. The implementation has some features in common with the architecture specification, and those common features are implemented in accordance with the specification. However, some features in the architecture specification are not implemented, and the implementation has other features that are not covered by the specification. Okay, so basically there's some common which can be implemented or consistent. Okay, in line basically. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So here, if you look at that, only some features are in common. Yeah, this is what the client gave you. But if you look at this one, whatever they implemented, only some features are common.
Yeah.
Yeah. Implementation has some features in common with the specification, and those common features are implemented in accordance with the specification. We call that consistent. Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, please remember, consistent may have a different, definition if you look at the dictionary. Getting it? Yeah. So third one, compliant.
Compliant. Okay. Some features in the architecture specification are not implemented, but all some features in the architecture specification are not implemented, but all features implemented are covered by the specification and is according with it. Okay. Basically, you kind of exclude certain specification and implement it. It's called complaint. Okay.
Thank you. So
One.
here, if you look at that, if you look at this one, some features in the specification, if you look at the specification here, some features in the specification are not implemented at all.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but all that thing which you implemented, it was actually specified by the client. But whatever you see you have implemented here, everything was specified by the client. However, some features they specified you haven't implemented. Got it? Yeah. So it is called compliant. Getting it? Next one, conformant, if you can read that.
Conformant, actually all the features in architecture specification are implemented in accordance with them. All the features in the architecture specification are implemented in accordance with the specification, but some features are implemented that are not in accordance with the specification. Okay, basically a little deviation is there from the actual specification. That's what they're trying to say, correct?
Okay, so here what it is conformant, what is all the features in the specification are implemented, means whatever the client specified in blue, everything is implemented. Yeah, but what happened is it is not sufficient for the project, so you have implemented some extra stuff. That is conformant. Got it?
Yeah, understood.
Yeah, fully conformant is the ideal situation. Whatever was given to you, fully implemented that, it is the ideal situation. Yeah, now the last one, it is speaking about one particular parameter. It's called non-conformant. Let me tell you this one. Now imagine, so if you look at this one, there are some common areas between the implementation and the specification. Yeah. So in that, one area is highlighted, one or two areas are highlighted. So what happened was, whatever the client told you, from that, many common things you have implemented for the project. However, whatever you implemented, you told the client, this is as per the specification. However, one of the parameters the client found out, it is not as per the specification that you have implemented. It is slightly different. Yeah, so that is called non-conformant. Any of them, or in which some features in the specification are implemented, not in accordance with the specification. You told the client, this one I'm implemented according to your specification, but they found out later it is implemented not according to specification.
Got it.
Got it? Is non-conformant. Now you have to go through it once again at home. Otherwise, when you get this for exam, I was completely, what to call, zapped. I couldn't understand what is what.
No, I understand. But how do the questions are framed?
Question, they will ask you 4 options. For example, they'll give you a definition and tell you, is it consistent or compliant or conformant or what it is.
Oh, got
Getting
it.
it? Yeah. For example, they give you definition of compliant. Yeah, you will be confused. Is it compliant or consistent or conformant or what it is?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Next one, compliance. One more thing about compliance is level 2, 90% time you get a question on compliance.
Okay.
Getting it? So make sure that you do the question in compliance. You have to go to the PDF. You cannot do without that.
Yeah. I couldn't
I'll
go
tell
through
you.
yesterday. There was some work actually. I couldn't go through that yesterday.
Okay,
I want to do it today. Yeah.
I'll tell you how to do that now. Architecture compliance reviews. What all things you do in architecture compliance review, right? All this you do. For example, you catch the error in a project, right? You ensure the application of best practices, right? You provide the overview of the compliance, right? and taking advantage of advances in techno. All these are parts of compliance reviews. Got it?
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. They will ask you a question, for example, taking advantage of advance in techno. Is it compliance? Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. When we do now, compliance review process, but TOGAF, your 12 steps,
Mm-hmm.
starting from 1 to 12.
Yeah.
Okay, now few things you have to keep in mind. For example, who does the who identify a responsible organization? The review coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah, who determine the scope of review? Architecture review coordinator. Yeah, who tailor the checklist? The lead architect. Everything is given in the PDF. Okay. Now, who does the sign off finally? The architecture board and the customer.
Mm-hmm.
Got it? Yeah. So keep
Yeah.
it in mind. Now, let me take you to the PDF because I want to show you a few things there. If you get a question on this, you have to go back to the PDF. Now, you can either go to 9.2 or 10, doesn't matter. So I open the TOGAF 10 C220 document. Okay, no, yeah, C220. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look here, everything in compliance will be given, your governance and compliance. As I told you before, C220, they have shared in 6 different parts. Yeah. But when you go for exam, it will be single part. Okay.
Okay.
Let me open it. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Did I open TOGAF 10? Yeah, full bit. Oh, sorry for that. Okay. Okay. Can you see this on the screen? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Capability, governance, and compliance. Everything is given. I think so. Yeah. Architecture compliance. See that?
Yeah.
Now, all the definitions what we covered is given there is TOGAF 10 actually. Yeah, the compliance review, the purpose, everything is given there. Now, timing of the project, so many things are given here. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is, have a look at this one. Yeah, governance and personal scenario. Now, if you get a question in level 2, right, and it's a small scale project, you make sure that you follow this condition.
The review process could simply take the form of series of questions that the
Okay.
project.
Second, you can go through it. The second one, if the project is under review, has not involved a practicing or full-time architect, you have to look into this detail when you do a level 2 question. Got it? Yeah. And the third condition is, if it is a large scale project, you have to go through this one before you answer it. Got it?
Okay. In such scenario, the review will be coordinated.
Yeah, you can go through it if you want to. In such a situation, for example, the review will be coordinated by the lead enterprise architect. If the answer says that the review is coordinated by someone else, it is not actually, it may not be the best answer. Got it? So you have to go through here. Getting it? Yeah. So
How do
make
you
sure
decide? It's a big, small, understand?
that depending on the scenario, it will be given there.
Okay.
Yeah, you will know it's a small, if there's only 2 people involved, you know, it's not a huge project. Yeah. If it's a huge team of people involved, you know, it's a huge project.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. So next one, also, if you need to look into the roles and responsibilities, it is given here. Yeah, next one more column. 12 steps in compliance as per TOGAF with 12 steps. Every step is given here. Request architecture review. Who does that? Step 1, anybody can do it. Yeah. Step number 2, who is responsible? Architecture review coordinator. Yeah. All the 12 steps. In case you have to check on the details for your question, you can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you get it? How to check the PDF?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now, one more thing very important is you may not get too much of time, because please remember 8 questions in level 2, right? Every question will have maybe 10.5 minutes. Yeah. So many times, so many people spend 20 minutes in a single question or 30 minutes. Yeah. So what I suggest is, when you go, if you find a question is tough, please do that in the end. Don't do the tough question in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. If you just read to the scenario, you don't understand anything, it doesn't look simple, you're not able to identify the topic, what it is, please leave it, finish off the rest and come back.
Got it.
Second one, don't leave anything blank. Even if you don't know, before you close it, make sure that you answer all the answers. Also, please remember 90 minutes exactly. Even if you don't close it, it will automatically close. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So before 90 minutes, at the 70 minutes itself, should finish off, start winding up. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, coming back to the next one, let me see a few other things we have to look into. Here we go. Few definitions. Can you see that on the screen? The definitions, can you see that?
I don't see any definition. I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. 5 definitions here. You may get one of it for sure. Yeah. First one, system. Right? You know what's a system. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
Second one, who is a stakeholder as per TOGAF? Anybody part of your project is a stakeholder, right? For example, the users, the developers, anybody you are part, organization, teams, individuals, all these are stakeholders.
Yeah.
Third one, concerns. Now, when TOGAF says concern, what exactly do they mean by that? Yeah, it could be any of the concerns mentioned here: performance concern of the client, reliability, security, all these are basically concerns. Okay.
Yeah.
And the next one, what is a view? Right? This is the example of a house. I create a blueprint for a house. It's a view.
Yeah.
Yeah. What exactly is a view? View is a representation of a system in simple term from the perspective of the client's concerns. Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So based on the concerns of the client, you create a blueprint. We call that an architecture view.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what is a viewpoint? Viewpoint is individual perspective.
Correct.
Is called a viewpoint. Yeah. Define the perspective from which an architecture view is taken is viewpoint. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the PPT I was covering you from, it is 9.2. Now, I want to take you to 10 to check on, is there anything we need to cover from 10?
Is there anything?
Yeah. 2-3 topics are there which are not mentioned there. Yeah. Also, I want to tell you why I went through 9.2 first, because if you look at the content here, nothing is very, very fragmented. Nothing is explained clear. For example, the ADM, right? Nothing is mentioned in it. Absolutely nothing. Now, please remember,
Just given the kind of key points, they're not details. Yeah.
Not mind it, it is given by the open group directly. Okay. So nothing is there. Explanation, just a basic. Getting it? So even see, if you look at enterprise, let me give an example. Enterprise continuum. We went through all the diagrams and understood at the basic. Now, here, if you look at that, this is the only thing given in enterprise continuum, nothing more.
Yeah, now I understood. The details are not there. The kind
Nothing
of
is there. No,
only pointers are there.
Correct. Getting it? Nothing is there. So if, for example, a new trainer comes, he will have a challenge. For example, last week I went to 10 days, I went to Dubai because they called a trainer from another country and he couldn't explain enterprise continuum and one or two topics. And immediately I was called. Yeah, for the training there. And it was a Vassal group in Dubai. Yeah, it was a huge training. Yeah. So it is simple, but you should know exactly how to explain. It is a certification code, definitely, but you should know the basic things in place.
Correct.
Now, so that's why. So let's look at what all things we need to cover from this. Yeah, here we go. We discussed on enterprise. These are the topics given in foundation. So here we go. This is the level 1 I'm covering, not level 2. Now, enterprise, we discussed on enterprise. What is an enterprise, right? You remember that? You remember we covered on the enterprise, yeah. And how do you scope an architecture, all that we covered, yeah. Enterprise is a collection of organization with a common goal, all that we discussed, correct? Yeah. What is the purpose of an enterprise? We discussed on, if you remember, what is the purpose of an enterprise? To make your organization most efficient also, right? What else?
And to kind of what do you call, organize or put a proper structure, or how do you?
Yeah.
All those
Or to make effective change possible.
correct. Manage the change in a more organized manner. Yeah.
Correct. If you want to manage a change properly, you need to have a strong enterprise architecture in place. So when it's enterprise architecture involves, two things here. Yeah, the business and the IT. You are combining it to make it more efficient.
Yeah.
So we discussed this one. And next one, benefits of enterprise architecture. We discussed better efficiency, better return of investment, most efficient digital transformation, all that. Okay, so make sure that you go through anything you have a doubt, we can discuss. Also, we discuss what is a TOGAF standard. So please remember, as per TOGAF 10, these are the topics we are supposed to cover. You see this? Introduction and core concept. This is the requirement we are supposed to do. Architecture, develop ADM techniques we covered. Applying the ADM, we are still covering. Content framework, enterprise capability, continuum, and governance.
Yeah.
Getting it? These are the topics mandatory. TOGAF series guides are basically helping content, right? To help you with the implementation and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, TOGAF we covered. Now, next one, architecture domain. These are the 4 domains we covered. We discussed on that. Yeah, I'll be sharing this with you soon after we finish with the training, and make sure that you go through it. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Anything you have a doubt, you have to, come back tomorrow. Now, this one not given in the other ones we have to discuss. Now, what do you mean by an abstraction?
Abstraction is a kind of hiding certain things and making it simple.
Okay. Making it simple will be more appropriate. Let me tell you this one. For example, if you are facing a problem for an architecture, or you have very complicated architecture work to carry out. Yeah, so what you do is you break it into small phases to simplify the work, correct? Yeah, so abstraction as per TOGAF is abstraction, is basically for dividing a problem into small problems.
Correct.
Getting it? That is what we call an abstraction here. Also, architecture effort can be divided in abstraction level to answer the 4 fundamental questions. Yeah, why am I doing the architecture? Yeah, what are the requirements? Yeah, how do we do it, and what?
Yeah.
And with you now, in TOGAF, there are 4 abstraction levels. Yeah, first one is called contextual abstraction. Now, can you understand, tell me at least what exactly they mean by contextual abstraction?
The contextual abstraction in the sense, probably it's at the at the beginning in the context setting or the fundamental
Correct. You are right.
evaluation.
Yeah. You need to understand the environment of the client, right? And why are they doing the enterprise, right? What is the scope of work and the goal, the driver, etc. That is called contextual. Got it? Here we go. Have a look at this.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, second one, can I proceed?
Yeah.
Second one is called conceptual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conceptual is basically, yeah, what are the things I need to address for the project to take care of the problem of the client? Yeah. Or decomposing the requirement to understand the issues of the client. Yeah. Or how do I finally get the capability the client is looking for? Yeah. So that is conceptual, right? Have a look at this, please.
Decomposing the requirement to understand what it forcing on how the architecture will be realized. Okay.
Fine with you. Now, tell me, what do you understand? Logical, basically, what is logical?
Logical is kind of it's not it may not be physically or the implementation may not be in the way it is, but grouping based on certain logic, let's say kind of certain upstream application, downstream applications, all those things could be kind of combined and shown as one, something like that.
Okay. Now, for you to deliver, for you to find a solution for the client, you need to know what are, for example, which are the domains you're going to cover, right? And how can you organize or structure the architecture, implement it, all the stuff is logical. Here we go. Fine with you? Now, the fourth one is called physical, right? Physical is basically all the physical components involved for me to carry out the architecture work. Yeah, here we go. Have a look at this. Physical component to meet the logical component. It is about determining what are the physical components. Yeah, that will help you realize the conceptual or logical.
Logical components, physical components. All right.
Fine with you?
Yeah.
Okay, now make sure that you go through it. Enterprise continuum we covered already. Repository, this also we covered already. See here, what is given here, nothing is just one page.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing explained. So if you go through by yourself, you'll start scratching what is all this. Then maybe you have to refer the PDF probably. Okay, now the thing is, you know basic things here. You know basically what it is, and you know where to look for details.
Yeah, I understand now.
Now, next one, content framework we covered, right? What is content meta model, enterprise meta model? Some more things I'm going to cover maybe tomorrow, right? Content framework diagram, you have to identify it in a question paper. Remember that, okay? Now, next one, what is architecture capability, right? Ability to develop, use, and sustain the architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to put in place, we discussed yesterday, the responsibility, the skill set required, the roles and process. It's called capability, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so that is the architecture capability. Now the next one, let's have a look at this one. All these are different capabilities. Yeah, HR capability, the accounts capability, IT capability, all these are capabilities. Yeah, so the purpose, there's something called purpose capabilities. For example, architecture to support the strategy. Yeah, architecture to support the portfolio, right? The project, all this is called purpose capability, capability to support a specific project or a portfolio, things like that. Yeah, and this is called foundational capability. For example, governance is foundational capability.
Yeah.
Yeah, content framework, all that. Okay, here we go. Risk management also we covered already. Risk management, we finished with that. Yeah, nothing is given here. Yesterday we went through risk. There are two levels of risk: initial level
Correct.
and
Correct.
residual level. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. So this one, nothing is given here. Gap analysis we covered. One thing I want to
Yeah.
ask you: what are the different types of gaps you identify in a project?
I think we did an kind of, I mean, there could be gaps in several areas actually.
Okay.
So we
People gaps can be there. Tool
Correct.
gaps can be there. Information gaps, financial
Process
gaps, data gap. All these are gaps. Got it?
correct.
Yeah. All these are different types of gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And different gaps. Next one. This one we covered already. The same thing we
Correct,
covered.
correct. I remember.
Okay. Next one. Next one, definition you have to go by yourself. You covered all of it. Yeah, what is an architecture model, what is a landscape, everything we have covered. You have to go through yourself. Okay, now next one, all the phases I covered in detail. Yeah, so you have to go through that. Phases from preliminary onwards we covered. Yeah, here it is given like this in simple terms, nothing in detail. Even the statement of work or request for work, somebody follows this one and go for exam, they will be confused. What is statement of work?
Yeah, I understood.
Yeah. Now, next one, what is the difference between a draft and an approved deliverable? Any idea what it is?
Yeah, draft is still in changes is in progress, and approved is kind of it has been reviewed and agreed and signed off.
Correct. Very good. Yeah. One more thing. Remember this one. Approved does not necessarily means finalized.
Correct. It can go through review.
Okay. Yeah. So have a look at the draft versus approved. Fine with you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, iteration we discuss, governance we governing the ATM, all that we discuss, governing change, we discussed on that. Now, how to scope an I believe we discussed this one. If you remember the scoping of architecture, the breadth, the time, domains, and all that. Yeah, we covered that one. Yeah, scoping dimension, the breadth, depth, time, and domains. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, next one, what do you mean by architecture alternative or trade-off?
Trade-off is basically when you're, let's say there's a requirement is expected to cover certain features, and which when you deliver certain other features, you have to leave out certain features. So that is kind of considered as a trade-off, which is excluded, something like that, or can't be delivered because of a dependency on something else.
Yeah, so many times what happens is a trade-off situation is, for example, for in a project maybe to cut down on budget, you will make some compromises or changes.
Correct.
You are doing that compromise because you want to cut down on budget, your budget is limited. Yeah, that is called a trade-off. Or to achieve a target, you have different ways of doing it.
Correct.
Getting it? Yes.
Yeah.
You can achieve that target in different ways.
Sorry?
Yeah. You have different ways to achieve the target, different alternatives.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine with you? So that is called alternative and trade-off. But what I suggest is when you go back home, please go through the topic in the PDF also. And when you come back tomorrow, I should know any doubt. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Now, preliminary, see, this is what is given in preliminary purpose. Yeah. Then objectives, we covered the objectives. Yeah. Now, many times they will ask you questions in level 10. I've seen them ask you questions on output and outcome.
Oh, sorry?
Yeah, output and outcome.
Yeah, you told me about it yesterday. We discussed. I
Okay.
remember.
Yeah, it's okay. So here we go. Have a look at what is output and outcome of phase A. What is the knowledge you require? Right, we have discussed it, but I wanted to specifically go through this one, output and outcome. Okay. In every phase and any doubt we can discuss again. So likewise,
Exactly. What I can do is probably I have a call in next 10 minutes, 15 minutes basically.
Yeah.
So we'll try to kind of wrap up by that time.
Okay, fine. We'll wrap it up in 2 minutes. Okay. So just let me see anything else. Otherwise we are done. So go through that one. Otherwise all the topics are covered, all the phases we are covered in detail. Yeah. So you should be able to go through it. Okay. Interoperability principles we covered, right? All that we covered. And principles we covered, business scenarios we covered, gap analysis we covered, and then business transformation assessment we covered, risk management we covered, right? So series guide, I told you so many series guides are there with me, content, I'll be sharing it with you this weekend. Okay, so before I wrap up, so you can go through this, and I wanted you to do the question paper. Okay, can I just show you where the question paper is? Yeah,
I saw that actually. You have shared me that.
Yeah, but a few questions I wanted to practice in the class itself. Okay, now today I want one more class. Tomorrow I want to know when you're free. We can sit maybe on a long time.
Yeah, tomorrow from morning till 1 o'clock I am free. After 1 o'clock I have to go for I have to go for Leicester. Yeah, there's a HSS event actually. I have to go there.
Okay, fine. So 10:30, the same time we'll keep 10:30 to 1. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so Saturday night by any chance you'll be free? I'm free. I want to finish off everything.
Sunday evening we can, yes, I think
Sunday evening. Okay, let me know. Okay, Sunday morning I won't be free because I'll go to church. So Sunday evening I'll be free. Okay.
Be fine.
Yeah. So today we are done with the content in level 1. Only have to discuss the questions and question paper. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yes,
okay, and then tomorrow itself I'll start level 2 also. Yeah. And what I'll do, the question paper I tell you to do at home. Yeah. And so Sunday I'll do the Saturday, tomorrow, and then Sunday I'll try to do the level 2, and then maybe I'll take another 2 days to finish off level 2. Okay.
So
yeah, next week, in fact, there are 2 batches, as I told you. One batch from Azerbaijan, I heard, Azerbaijan, some bank, and another batch from Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, so Australian batch is for business architecture, that is Wednesday, Thursday, and Azerbaijan batch is Monday to Thursday for TOGAF. Yeah.
Okay. So you cover business architecture as well then?
I do, yes. I'm certified by Open Group for business architecture as well. Yes. Okay. Yeah. If you want to specialize in business architecture, you should go for it. Yeah. One thing I want to tell you, while you're working now, you start, focusing on certain area. Don't go with generalized one. You decide on what you want. Either you want to get into business architecture or you want to get into governance. What it is, you have to decide. Okay. Because that will be more, because in UK and all especially, they will look for people who are specialized in particular field.
Understood.
Yeah. So that is about it. So see you tomorrow. So I'll be sharing this PPT with you today. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. So see you tomorrow. Attend your meeting. And tonight, because it's Friday night, even my kids will be free. Maybe I'll go out and all. So tomorrow we'll have, let me know. Tomorrow, 10:30 will start. Again, if you're by any chance free in the evening, also let me know. Okay.
Sure. We'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much. See you tomorrow. I'll be sharing this PPT in some time. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.